Alright, you can leave. Bye. Oh, sorry. So as you guys can see, this is the Wiring Specialties engine harness for the car, and that is the only thing that's left in here. There's a couple of loose wires that we still need to pull, but everything is out. There's no harness coming from behind the firewall anymore. We pulled everything out, and the car is pretty clean. It's super clean right now, actually. And there's no more wiring back here at all besides just the gauges, and then this is where the engine harness actually comes into the car to plug into the ECU. So we talked about where we're going to mount my ECU and my computer and everything like that. We talked about all that stuff already, and today we're actually going to get it to work. So let's go find Nick.
Today we're going to pretty much start the process of getting everything mounted, all the new stuff. So we're going to mount the kill switch that we got. So this is the master kill switch. This will cut power to everything in the whole car, just in case there's an emergency, a fire, anything like that. You can just literally turn the whole car right off. So we're going to mount that first. That's your start, and then we're going to get the Switch Pros module mounted up and start wiring from there. So we're just going to start hooking each input to each terminal, so everything's already labeled and ready to go. And we're going to wire up the fans, ECU, start signal, and then hopefully get the car started, and then wire up some lights and be good to go.
So here is the delete panels that we made, and this is my Switch Pros module. This is basically going to make me feel like a real race car driver. It's going to have all the buttons for me to get my car to start on here, like my ECU, fuel, fans, ignition, stuff like that. Probably my lights will go on here too. We left a little bit of extra space at the bottom just so that if I need to mount switches later and have those wired as well, I can definitely do that, and I have the space for them. So yeah. Alright you guys, so I know I haven't been filming a whole lot like I usually do, and you haven't gotten to see very much, but that's just because this is a big learning curve for me. I originally did not know anything about wiring, but I've learned a lot today, and I'm actually having a lot of fun. This is much more simplistic than I thought it was, and wiring does not scare me anymore, so I'm excited to show you guys the update. But before I do that, I just kind of wanted to clarify and let you guys know what's going on, I guess, a little bit, because I don't really think I explained very well. I got the Switch Pros system, which basically comes with a module and a switch panel, and the module basically has all the different wires already, and you just assign each wire to what it's going to do, and it comes with a diagram and everything, so you can kind of label just so you remember everything. But what we're doing is we've got two different terminal strips. One is for power, one is for ground, and we've been wiring everything to that, and we're using the stock chassis harness for the back of the car because it wasn't very tapped into originally. So we're using the stock harness just because it's going to save us a lot of wire, a lot of time, and it's going to keep it pretty simple too, because we're still going to have the connectors that we can just quickly detach if we need to. So that's going to be controlling like the fuel pump, tail lights, stuff like that. But basically what we're doing is we're just simplifying this entire system. So, really quick, I'll show you. It looks kind of messy right now, but it's actually not that bad. So those are the two terminal strips that I'm talking about, and as you can see, there are some wires coming out of that terminal strip right there. That's the one that we've been using mostly. And then that right there is the Switch Pros module that I was telling you about that's got the two connectors. And then this is the actual little switch panel that you can turn your whole car on and everything like that. And the cool thing about this is that you actually have an app, so you can control your car from your phone, which is honestly just ridiculous. But my favorite part about this is that these LED lights actually light up blue. So yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about this. We've got the car wired up enough to the point where it can start and it can run. So we've got the ignition wired, we've got my ignition switch right here, and then this is for my starter, that's for my computer obviously, and this is for my fuel pump. So next what we're going to do is we're going to wire the fans.
So the start button should be momentary. You should have to hold the button for it to work. The rest you can just click. So that's ECU, and then it stays on. This one should be momentary. So yeah.
Whoa, and it works from my phone too, right? Oh my god, that's so cool. Oh, that's so cool.
Are you ready to start it?
We can start it?
Should be able to.
Oh my god, the car's in gear though. Okay. Oh, sick! Dude, my car's running.
Not connected.
It runs! Alright, you can leave. Bye. Oh, sorry. Alright, you guys, so we're basically done for the day over here, but I just want to give you a really quick overview of everything that we did so far, just because, like I said, I've been absorbing all this information, so I haven't really been recording a whole lot. I promise that I'm actually going to show you guys something tomorrow. You guys are actually going to learn something tomorrow. I'll probably show you how you can actually connect your own wire to a ground into power and make something work tomorrow, but I just wanted to get a full understanding of everything today, so I'll show you really quick. If you guys are familiar with 350Zs, you know that usually you have two different fuse boxes right here, but we got rid of both of those fuse boxes over here, got rid of all the wiring over here, and as you can see, all we have now is the Wiring Specialties engine harness that runs to the engine of the car. And then we actually mounted, this is a kill switch, so basically what this does is this is kind of like disconnecting your battery for the car. It's like kind of like taking your battery out of the car completely, so it's on the on position right now just because we were testing wires and making sure that the car would start. So this is the on position. If you turn this off, the whole car will lose power, so this is basically in case of an emergency. Anybody can reach back here and turn this off. You can actually access this from my windshield right here where my hood is down. You can just put your hand right in here, boop, turn that off, and the car will lose all power so that you'll be nice and safe. And then like I told you guys already, we already wired my fuel pump up and everything so that the car would turn on and run, because when we took this car apart, the reason that we took it apart was because the car wasn't running. So that's wired up back there already. And then in here, here's my ECU right here. This is actually the first thing that we did today, was we wanted to mount the ECU in a really good spot, because originally my ECU was in a really hard spot to reach, so anytime I felt like I was having any kind of wiring issues and that was something that I wanted to check, I had to basically like become a contortionist to fit inside my car and underneath my dash. So we wanted to mount the ECU in a really easy place for me to access it, so we mounted it right here along the wall so that when I'm giving ride-alongs and stuff, people's feet won't be hitting it. There's no chance of them kicking it really, and if they do, it's not going to do anything because all of the connectors are up here. So we made sure to mount that in a pretty good location. This is my fuel cut defender, so we're going to make sure that this is going to be on the outside so that I can access that as well and adjust it if I need to. And then here are those terminal strips that I was telling you guys about earlier. This is one of the terminal strips. This one basically just has a ground right now, and this ground runs right here. We wanted to put it in a pretty easy place, and we have actually two different grounds right here, but as you can see, this terminal strip has quite a bit going on. Nick actually went in and hooked all of this up, the first top row, last night at his house, just because he figured that it would save us a lot of time. So he made sure to label all this stuff yesterday and just hook the stuff up in here. This is what I learned how to do today. I basically learned how to strip a wire, crimp it, and attach it to the terminal switch here. So I also learned how to heat shrink to make sure that all of my stuff is heat shrinked and shielded. And then down here is basically a diagram telling me what each color wire does and what it goes to. So as you can see, like the brown wire, for example, is for my starter. The orange wire is for my ECU and my gauges. I have another one for my fuel pump over here. Two separate ones for my fan. So the left side of the panel is actually all your 20 amp voltage over here, and the right side of the panel is all for 35 amp voltage, so that's the maximum amount of voltage that you want to do on the right side or on the left side. So it was kind of nice how easy Switch Pros made that, I guess for organization wise and simplicity. And then this is my kill switch right here. This is what was mounted on the outside of my car by the hood of the car so that they can turn the car on and off if they need to. And then also this is nice for me so that when I park my car and I'm not going to drive it until the next event or whatever, I can basically kill all the power to my car with the flip of a switch and make it super easy so I don't kill my battery so often. So that's really nice. That's what this is right here, and then this power wire runs all the way over here into the firewall of the car. This is my ignition switch for the car, so this basically acts like a key, so I don't have to use a key anymore to run the car. The car will run and drive without a key. This is basically going to act as the key for the car, so I'm going to mount this right next to the Switch Pros panel so that I can just flip this on really quick, hit all my buttons on the Switch Pros panel, and the car will run and drive, and I won't need a key anymore. And this is my Switch Pros panel that I was telling you guys about earlier. This is going to be mounted in my dash. This is what we made the radio delete panel for yesterday, so that this can be mounted in there. So basically I'm going to hit every single button on this after I turn on the ignition switch and be able to start my car like that. So this is for the starter, this is for the ECU. I'm probably going to put the two fans right here, gauges, and then this is my fuel pump, and I'll still have some space for extra buttons later on. But this is basically what my car is reading from. So I want you guys to know a little bit more about the Switch Pros setup than I know, so I'm gonna let Nick take over from here and get a little bit more technical with you guys so you can actually learn something, because I'm still learning as well, so I'm gonna let him take over.
Just a quick rundown of the actual Switch Pros module. To get the car running within a few hours, only a few wires. You have the actual module right here. This is the power to the module from your master. So this only gets power when your master is switched on. When your master is off, the Switch Pros module does not get power. It'll shut the car off. So this only gets power when the master's on. You have two plugs on your Switch Pros module. One is going to your actual switch panel that you turn everything on with. The other, with the big wiring loom, is going over to the terminal strip where you make all your connections to run the car, or run your lights, anything you're going to add to it. So right now we have only 3 wires going to it to run the car. So you have your fuel pump, 1 wire power to your fuel pump. It's grounded in the back. You have your starter signal, and then you have your ECU power. That's all you need. So you power up your ECU, you give it a starter signal, the car will run, you have fuel, and then the car starts and runs. So all the colors on the Switch Pros harness is set to a certain switch on the actual switch panel. So you can go to here, in the instructions it'll tell you exactly where the color goes to on the switch panel. So everything is color coordinated, and it has its own switch number, so it makes it really easy to hook up, and you'll be able to diagnose stuff really fast because you'll know the color of the wire and which switch it's going to.
That's obviously why I turned that over to Nick. I hope you learned something from that. I'm probably going to rewatch that clip like 30 times just so I can like understand everything and definitely make sure I know exactly what is going on in here. But it seems pretty simple. It's just that I haven't gotten the chance to like really memorize that and become very familiar with it yet. I just got a basic understanding of it, and then we just started wiring and trying to get stuff done right away. But we got the car running in a day. Like, we literally had all the wiring taken out, and we just started wiring today. We had not done any wiring prior to that, so it's pretty amazing to me that we didn't have my car running. The reason why we even tore my car apart in the first place was because it wasn't running and because of a wiring issue. And now this is so simplistic. Like, there's literally 3 whole wires that are making this car run right now. The 3 wires have power and ground, and that's it, and the car runs. So it's pretty crazy, but as you can tell, it's getting very dark outside, so we're gonna wrap it up here for tonight, and I will see you guys tomorrow, where we will actually teach you how to, I guess, create your own mini wiring harness with the Switch Pro system. The Switch Pro system is so cool. Like, the Switch Pro system is so cool. Like, you can literally control everything from your phone, and you can label everything in your phone as well, in case if you ever lose that piece of paper, you have all the information digitally, which is honestly really nice. So, yeah, I'm really stoked. I'm having a lot of fun with all this wiring stuff, and I'm really glad that I have Nick to help guide me through this, because if not, my car would still not be running. So, everybody say thanks to Nick. Alright, either way, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we will get some more stuff done. So, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. What is up, you guys? It is a brand new day. It has been a couple days since we worked on the car, so I'm not sure exactly where I left you off, but my goal for today is to try to teach you guys how to wire something very simple like a voltmeter. I'm going to attempt to teach you. Nick is probably going to step in because I am still learning my way around the wiring world, but I want to teach you guys how to wire something very simple today, and we're hoping that we can at least get the gauges hooked up today and the voltmeter on the car, so that all we have left to do is the fans, the windows, and the lights. So, we're gonna jump straight into that, and we're gonna get to work. Alright, you guys, so we're gonna wire the gauges up tonight, and show you guys how to do that. So this is basically where I'm gonna have all my gauges mounted. This is the stock center console centerpiece thing or whatever for the Z. So as you can see, I took out these stock gauges, filled these 2 holes right here with my buddy Riley, and I got an oil pressure gauge finally. And then these gauges I already had, and then this is where my Switch Pros module is going to be mounted, and then I have a voltmeter right here. So what we're going to show you guys tonight is these wires are all the sensor wires that come from the gauges. Can you see the back? These are all the sensor wires that come from the gauges, so most of these are already run through the firewall and hooked up where they need to be hooked up in the engine bay, except for the oil pressure one, because I just bought that gauge off of Nick. Thank you very much, I appreciate you. And then what Nick is holding in his hand, those are all the power and ground wires, right? For the gauges to actually like light up and work and do everything besides like read what they're supposed to read.
Yeah, I was gonna turn them on.
Okay, so we're basically gonna show you guys how to wire the power and ground up tonight, because that's essentially all you need for wiring, right? It's like power, ground, and whatever sensor to read whatever you're reading.
A signal from your sensor and then power and ground. So.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna show them how to wire the gauges. Just want to point this out to you guys really quick. The gauges always come with the wiring already done for you, essentially, and they'll separate the wiring by two different wires. So like the one set of wires is for your sensor, and then the other set of the wires is for your power and ground, and they're both connected to the one connector right here. And the way that we figured out which one was power and ground versus which one was for the sensor is because this one has a black and red wire in here, and I guess those are the two most common colors for your power and ground, so those ones are going to be separate from the sensor wires. So we kept all the sensor wires for all of the gauges together, and then we kept all of the power and ground wires for all of the gauges together as well. So as you can see, all of them are exactly the same. They have the one connector right here that plugs into the back of the gauge for the gauge to work, and then it comes with the two different sets of wires. So this is going to be our power wire because it's red, so I already put this female connector on this one already, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that on the ground wire. So you have your wire already in your little wrap-up of wiring here, so you have it like this. You need one of these. This basically strips the wire at the end, so you want to have enough in here so you can get a decent connection with the connector. So you cut that part off, you twist this, and then you find this in the correct size gauge for your wire. So this is 14 gauge wire, so I already picked this out, and you're gonna stick this into that hole and make sure you have a little bit of this wire, this bare wire, sticking out from it. And these have a split in the middle. It's really hard for you guys to see because it's not focusing. There's a split in the middle right there. You want to make sure that when you crimp the wire before you heat shrink it, that the hump for the crimp is where the metal splits. Cam is losing his mind right now. So there's a hump right here in the wire crimper, so you don't want this to be on the split of the metal. You want it to be on the bottom of the split of the metal. Yeah. So then, and you heat shrink it. Alright, we got the voltmeter working. Nick's gonna tell you guys how we did it because he's on the correct side of the car and I can't see it.
So we got red and black for power and ground. Really simple, just two wires. The voltmeter is labeled on the back, power and ground, so you know which one's which. And then, so we made the harness. It runs along here with the rest of it. And then for the voltmeter, you want to read your voltage all the time, just to make sure that your battery's not draining or it's dead or anything like that while the car's sitting. So you want to hook it to your battery power, but only when your master switch is on. So when your master switch is on, you can read voltage off of your gauge all the time, so running or not running. Then when you turn your master off, you don't read off the volt gauge. So that's how that's hooked up. So I put it to that connection where the battery cable goes to. You can see two of the red wires coming off. So that's one's ignition and one is the voltmeter. The volt gauge. And then I'm just sharing a common ground with the stuff that we have right now. Right there, you can see all the grounds. So I don't know, I might change that later, I might leave it, not sure. It's a really good ground. You're pretty much going straight to the chassis, bare metal. So everything's working good. Might change it, might not. But yeah, I got the gauges wired up. The dogs are barking. So the gauges are wired up. Just cut the harness and shared the power and ground for every gauge. So the gauges are wired up to the ECU circuit. So when you turn the ECU on, you turn all the gauges on. So.
Alright you guys, that is all the time that we have for tonight. I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope you guys found this a little bit helpful at least. I just wanted you guys to have a useful skill of how to wire something very basic, even if it was just the voltmeter. But this car's coming along really well. We've got the gauges wired up already. The car starts, it'll run and drive basically. We got to still wire up the fans, power windows, the lights, and I think that's about it. But like I said, Nick and I are just going to powerhouse through this car for the next couple of days before I leave town so that I can drive this thing when I get back in town, because that is all I want to do right now. And we're honestly going to be able to get a lot more done if I'm not filming the entire time. So if you guys have made it this far, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to link Nick's Instagram in the description below. Yeah, we're just going to powerhouse through this thing and get it done. And the next video that I post, I should be driving. So I will see you guys on the track in the next video. It's been fun, but we're going to show you guys how you can actually wire a wire, I guess. Right? Is that how you say it?
Wire a wire?
Yeah. What do you do? Like, well, you can wire what? Wire like a. I mean, you can wire like a ground or make something work. Make it turn on.
Yeah. So how to pretty much make your own wiring harness?
Yeah, that. Okay.
Next up is fans.
Literally every dog except for Cam. Alright, the fun's over. Get back to work.
I'm done.
You're done? Alright, see you later. Bye. At least my car runs.
That's a wrap.